Hello and welcome to episode 145 of Gamers of Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod, a man who is still celebrating National Yorkshire Pudding Day. It's Mr. Steve Carter. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very good. I was very disappointed in myself for actually not realising it was National Yorkshire Pudding Day on Sunday as well. As all the Super Bowl excitement got to me, it went to my head. So I feel like I'm letting the region.
So
down.
have you stuck it in your calendar now for like next year, like kind of a build up?
It's just you're gonna have to do it every month, every day. You know, just live the Yorkshire pudding. Any excuse to put a Yorkshire pudding on something, just do it. Just do it. So yeah, it's gonna have to happen.
I'm surprised because
I have to make amends.
When you found out it was National Yorkshire Pudding Day, I'm surprised you didn't just have all of the ingredients in your house. Like it's a rite of passage. You know, it's just like you just have a cupboard with flour and eggs and salt and milk and stuff.
Yeah, well, we did, but it's because obviously it was Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, we'd got all the sort of the food outlined and prepped for the evening, so we'd already agreed that we're going to have like American themed night. So it's like it didn't really go with what we were doing. No. So it's like you can't really put a hot dog in Yorkshire pudding. That'd just be weird. So yeah, I'm still yet to rectify the matter. But yes, I hope other Yorkshire people kept the flag alive, kept the dream alive, and had a remembrance service for the Yorkshire pudding on the Sunday.
Hold up a second. Like, roll back. You can put a hot dog in a Yorkshire pudding. It's called a toad in a hole.
It's not a hot dog though, is it? It's just a sausage. Yeah, it's just it wouldn't be the same.
That'd be a really cheap. That'd be a really cheap toad in the hole, wouldn't it?
I'd just be disappointed with myself if I did that. You know, if it's a good sausage, then that'd be okay. But just not. A hot dog needs to be in a bun. Yes. You know, a hot dog has to be in a bun. So
that's like a roadside services toad in the hole, isn't it? If it has like a Hertha Frankfurter in there.
It's like a frozen meal from Iceland or something, isn't it? You know, it's a real B grade meal. Yeah.
That is just so. How was your weekend? Obviously, we had the Super Bowl, which obviously you're just as excited about that than you was National Yorkshire Pudding Day because your team won.
Yes, well, if happy
you
about
call
the result,
it a win.
My God, was it a boring game. So anyone who sat and watched it with me will probably have regretted sitting and watching it because I think it was the most boring Super Bowl we've had in about the last 10 or 15 years.
Yes.
It's the lowest scoring Super Bowl ever, I think I'm right in saying. So yeah, we were kind of messaging each other as it was unfolding, weren't we? But apart from that, there was nothing really going on. It was, it's 3-3 up until the fourth quarter, and then New England actually scored a touchdown. Then that was it. It kind of killed it off. But even the halftime show was garbage as well. With Maroon 5 and just
It was really bad.
Terrible.
It was just a game of punts, really, wasn't it? It was just all about the punt. It was just like, so could it get to the third, whatever you call it, what do you call it? Third snap.
Third down.
Third down. I'm still learning. I'm getting there. Third down, get to the third down, and then they would just punt the ball. And I was just like, okay, this is how, but I mean, as we were saying in our kind of WhatsApp group with James and stuff, well, was that just a testament to really good defense from both teams, or they just couldn't. The New England Patriots seem to just be kind of stopping the Rams from ever really kind of getting into the flow. I mean, I will get on to what we've been playing later, but before the game, I played that on Madden because like Madden's now available on EA Access, Madden 19, and the Rams won 44-7, and I was just like, here we go. I was expecting big things from the Rams, and it was just they just seemed to be stifled.
Yeah. Well, they like you say, it was a very good game for both defences, and they kept, I watched it on Sky, and both they kept cutting away to Sean Gale at the pitch side, and he's a former safety for the Bears, and he was saying, it's a real testament to both teams. They were both shutting the quarterbacks out. I think Patriots we had kind of a good running game, but when it came to throwing the ball, their defensive line was just getting straight through. They kept hitting Brady. They were getting through every time and just not letting him stand in the pocket with the ball at all. So yeah, it was a good game in terms of defense, like you say. But I took a picture on my phone. The 8 or 9 drives they had all ended in. The Rams ended in a punt.
Yes.
They never got a sniff.
Yeah.
And I mean we should have had the first field goal. Gostkowski, massively skewed that to the left, the first time we had it. So we should have at least been 6-3 up for quite a significant chunk of the game. But no, nothing really noticeable happened, and I can't remember the name of their running backs. I can't remember his name now, but he was barely used. I don't know if he was injured or what, but at the start of their season, all season, he just barely got utilised at all. So whether they were kind of hiding an injury. I think at half time, someone said it was just kind of to spread the players around, to try and distribute the ball a bit more, as not to kind of be a bit one-dimensional. But surely, if he's your star player for the season, who's made you most yards and most breaks, you've got to give the ball to him. You've got to let him do his thing. But it wasn't meant to be. But I think it was more the experience as much as anything. If you think we've been to the Super Bowl, I think 8 or 9 times in the last 10 years or something. So, the experience shines through with Brady, and, he likes being the underdog. He likes playing when he's up against it, and, he controlled the game and ultimately got the win. So, he's kind of settled all the kind of the questions of the naysayers about him retiring because he wants to keep going.
Right.
He said he wants to go till he's 45 and he's 41. So, if for as long as he can, fitness and, and he's injury free will allow, I'm sure he'll keep going. So yes, unfortunate for sort of the Patriot haters like James out there, they will want to see the legacy continue between Brady and Belichick. But I think they're kind of one of those teams, kind of our equivalent of, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Man United, when they've got, a string of seasons, for 5, 6, 7 years where everything goes their way. They're kind of riding that wave right now. But ultimately, when Brady and or Belichick do retire, then like Man United are now between managers when they've got Solskjaer, and I think that'll, be their dip in form, and, I think it was somebody else's turn, but yes, that's it for the year. That's it for the season now until September it starts again. I think it starts September, the football season, so it's a long out season, but thankfully, being Northern with the rugby league season started last week, so we can go straight from one contact sport to another. So yes, we've got just another variety of egg chasing to keep us going up until September.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, I was quite. Yeah, I ended up staying for the entire game because I was I was going to stay for the halftime. I think I did that last year, where I stayed until the halftime and then kind of went to bed because got to go to work the next day. But I ended up staying right until the end. I think
you said you were up at 7:30.
I know, yeah, I was like,
you crazy fool.
I was working from home, so I think I went to bed about 3:30, and then I woke up at 7:30. I think I nodded off. I think I nodded off in the fourth quarter just for a little bit. You may have not heard it from a message from me because I was downstairs watching at the movie room, and it was getting a bit cold because the weather was dropping. So I went upstairs and kind of watched it on my iPad in bed. And at one point, I kind of woke up and my iPad hit my face, so I definitely nodded off a little bit. But I don't think it was the game. Well, it probably was the game, but it was also because it was like 3:00 in the morning. But yeah, so it was good. It was good. It was good to just kind of stay up.
Friend of the show, Stu, nodded off at 12, didn't he?
Yes.
He kind of went silent at 12 o'clock, and then he just out of the blue messages in sort of Monday morning, like, Stu, where have you been? I fell asleep at 12 o'clock.
Yes, Stu had he had a picture of lots of cheese. I kind of just imagined him in some cheese coma with just kind of nachos dripping off his chin.
Yeah, just cheese and nachos everywhere. Yeah.
Well, that's very
smart. But no, you need a kind of a good game to keep you going through the sort of the early hours, I think. But sadly, we weren't treated to it. But yes, thankfully the Patriots came out the other side with a win, much to, like I say, Muddles discussed it.
Excellent stuff. Right, well, let's jump into what we've been playing. What have you been playing since we last potted?
So I think the last time we potted, I think I'd mentioned, I think it was just either before or after we went away to Cornwall, I think. But I'm still kind of plugging away slowly through Life is Strange.
Right.
I've not been playing much recently. I've kind of, like last week in particular, I had something going on every night last week, so I've not really had much chance to game. But with having Monday off after the Super Bowl, I've got episode 3, is it now, polished off? Got that polished off, and now on episode 4, Chaos Theory. I think I'm getting that right. So I'm still slowly making my way through that. And to be honest, I've not really touched much else because that's kind of when I'm playing it. I'm playing that, and I think we're all right to go into sort of spoilers here, given how long it's been out for. But I think my reaction to when I sent you the message on the WhatsApp group as to the ending of episode 3, it blows you away. It's just I couldn't believe it. It's just, I mean, I'm not a sort of James will probably say that I'm dead inside, but I'm not sort of an emotionally sort of hooked person with games. But even then, that took me aback. In terms of the decisions that you make, and when sort of Chloe's in, you try and save a sort of a future by bringing her dad back, and then you go back and you do that, and then she's in the wheelchair. It's like, what have you done? Because that's that's a choice that the game forces you to make. And then that happens. It's like, wow. It's just kind of, and I suppose in terms of like real life as well, that makes you think that if one thing had happened in your past, or you changed one little thing, you decided you're going to do something this day, and then, oh no, what if I didn't do that? It could completely skew how someone's life pans out.
Yes.
So it's caused a bit of a hoo-ha again in the WhatsApp group, hasn't it? I think it did last time for you and James. It caused a bit of a rift with what to do. I say what to do with Chloe. Like I say, apologies, listeners, if you're still not played it, you might want to dial out for sort of the next sort of 30 seconds to a minute. But you get sort of a very, very awkward choice of doing the gracious thing, I thought, of kind of, turning Chloe's life support off in effect, or letting her live, but she will, probably fall out and hate you for the rest of her life because she is trapped in a body that she can't use because she's paralysed from the neck down, so it's kind of that awkward choice that, do I save her because I put her in this position, or do I not do it because, she's still got a life and she's still, but it's obviously the whole situation of her family being in lots of debt for her medical bills and struggling to look after her and that sort of thing. So it's not an easy decision. And admittedly, I paused the game to actually consider it and also message you guys in terms of, guys, what do I do? And then, but yeah, I think because it was Monday, I nodded off after I'd just made the decision, and James had sent a few messages to the WhatsApp group, and I scrolled through and there's that, oh yeah, I went back and I did that. And he's like, how can you just casually say, oh, I just did that, and had a nap, and, with that on your conscience, you fell asleep. So yes, I think he thinks I'm dead inside and, emotionally drained, to the real world. Because I think he must have saved her or kept her alive by that logic.
No, I think we were talking about something completely different, because I think on that one, I think James might have kind of done the same thing, which was, are you turning off her life support machine? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. So I think James and I, because James and I, when we were playing this, it's been well kind of documented on the pod. When we were playing it, we were just making the same decisions throughout the entire game, right up until the very, very last decision. So I think we might have been talking about that rather than that. I've just got my phone out, but I'm just trying to scroll through your text, because your message in the WhatsApp group was just amazing. Because James was like, well, and then it was just, you just was like, oh yeah, I killed it, and then I went to sleep. And it was just like a clear conscious. It was your delivery of the message, and it was just like I was just in stitches. Yeah. I'm just trying to find it, and it was just like James was like, "Well, I know Matt was trying to make you kill her all the way."
Friend of the show, Matt, who also does not have any emotions and doesn't play such games, so he doesn't like making decisions.
Oh, I can't find it. I cannot find it. It's really bizarre. I can find everyone else's, but it was just your delivery.
I think there was another one beforehand when I'd sent a message to it, and he didn't agree with the decision I've made. And I said, you're a better man than me. And he said, yes, I am. I was like, well, because I'm northern, I don't have any emotions. Is that what you're saying? Is that what it is? Just to bring the north-south divide out again. But yes, admittedly, I was falling asleep whilst playing it, and I think most of the day I spent intermittently falling asleep, both on the sofa in the games room and on the sofa in the living room playing the other game. So, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. Some of us are at work.
I know. Well, you didn't have the foresight to book the day off, So
I know.
Yeah, I still think I've got about 4 or 5 days to use up. So I thought, why not? Sod it. So yeah, I think last year I only had a half day off, so I had the morning off and went into my last job as a half day. But still, I was like, oh, no. Still sort of kind of half dead to the world.
So are you enjoying Life is Strange? You're kind of romp for it.
Yes, very very much so. Yeah. It's great, and to have the full series on on Game Pass, is fantastic. And so, before the storm, and then also there's still the ambiguous, but we think we are getting the full series of season 2 as well, don't we? So, after the sort of very oddly worded release, but then I think they've confirmed that episode 2 will be coming at some stage, haven't they? So at least we will be getting that to play in its entirety after season 1. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. I'm not a huge fan of the sort of like the Walking Dead games et al. Sort of the the Telltale games, obviously, which sadly we won't really be seeing more of anyway. But that sort of decision making game, I'm not a huge fan of. But this, I don't know why. I just kind of got a bit more sort of an emotional connection with, unlike the sort of the other games, the Walking Dead, the other Batman games from Telltale, on Borderlands, that sort of thing. So it's something that I say, I've not really played anything else beyond that, and making sure that I do want to finish that and just not really get distracted by it, so I can remember what I've done, so I can piece the story together, so I'm not having to replay an episode, so I can remember what I've done in the last one to go back to it, etc. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm that the Game Pass membership is getting more than getting more than my money's worth out of it, so I can't complain at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, I think it's fantastic that you get the kind of before the storm. I think it's a good way to play it. Play the original, then go back and play that prequel. I think there's only about 3 episodes. I think it's about 3 episodes, so but it's a really good game to play, and then go on to Life is Strange 2. The second episode of Life is Strange 2 has now dropped. I think it dropped last week or the week before. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I've been playing some other stuff, but I definitely want to sit down and just kind of play that. I've got that, and also, speaking of Walking Dead, they've the original developers, or part of the original developers, they've got back together with Robert Kirkman's company, and they have put out episode 3, and I think episode 4 is coming at the end of March. So I'm going to have a bubble where I'm playing nothing but those games, but I'm really looking forward to jumping into Life is Strange 2. And I think we did report maybe last time on the pod that we were saying that it is coming to Game Pass, but I think it's about 40 days time or something like that, isn't there? There's an exclusive window for those people who bought the season pass, and no, it's just such a fantastic game. I love it that you're kind of going through it. I did download it. I re-downloaded the game, like Life is Strange, onto my Xbox, just so I could jump in and have a look at your choices. Because there's now, I think it's you, Stu, obviously James and myself, Manny as well. We've all kind of played it, so it's really good now to kind of see your friends, to see all of it changing, because before it was like James and I, so it was like 100%, and then 50%, but now it's changing, so it's quite nice to see the kind of mixture. I think you're making a lot of the same decisions as everyone else, but there's some subtleties to our story, which I think is really cool.
Well, I'm the same in any game, really, in terms of sort of games that have lesser sort of consequences, like, Red Dead, Fallout, that sort of thing. I always try and do the sort of the more moral, choice, and then just out of the blue, I'll just have one that just kind of breaks the mold and just kind of go a bit rogue, as it were, just make a choice that, should I have done that sort of thing? But, like I say, I think we've talked about it before, that you can at least go back and revert your decision, but I try not to do that, because otherwise I'll just sit there pondering about what decision to make all day. But, there's kind of the moral sort of choices there, when there's kind of that money that you can steal out of the principal's drawer and that sort of thing. I left the money alone, which I think most people probably would, but then it's like, well, you could actually pay the debt off, and then did you try and shoot what's his name now? Is it Frank or something? Right.
Oh yes,
the guy in the RV. Yeah, it's like, did you try shoot him, or did you not try shoot him, and that sort of thing. So it's like, because until, again, spoiler alert, until you actually go down that path, you don't actually find out there's not a bullet in the gun, or it jams, so you don't actually shoot him. But it's like, I could shoot him and I could kill him. So what would happen if I did that? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there are quite a few sort of moral choices in there, and I try and stick to the more moral path. But when I inevitably go back and sort of hoover up achievements, I think I'll try and do the other choice as well, just to see how it plays out. Because it's one of them things. Again, the sort of the end, is it end of episode 2 when you can decide who to pin the blame of Kate's death on? So it's like, again, you've got those 3 choices. It's like, well, I could blame Nathan because he's trying to shoot Chloe, but then obviously the Prescotts run Arcadia Bay, so how's that going to come back and bite me? But then you could blame, Chloe's stepdad, but then what's that going to have impact on Chloe? And you could blame the teacher, so it's, you've got to really think about it. And I think I was the only one out of everyone who blamed the teacher, to kind of lessen the impact on Chloe from a stepdad, and then in turn on you and everybody else from, Nathan Prescott getting kicked out of school. So yeah, but it's interesting to go back and see what the split is, because I think, like I say, I think the split is the majority of the decisions are the same, just barring a few here and there that are kind of a bit more sort of unevenly sort of swayed one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I mean, the bit that you were talking about, just the way you've left it, where you're kind of at the bedside. I remember just putting the controller down, on the table. I was sitting there playing it, and I just put the controller down. I think I might have put the controller down and then messaged James, going, "What did you do?" I think we might have been at the same point, going, "I just don't know what to do." And I've never had that in a game before, where I was so. I mean, I've played all of their Telltale games, and I've never been that, to coin a bad phrase, I've never been that paralysed by choice before. Was what to do with her in the bed, and I was just like, it was just bizarre. It was just bizarre and great and fantastic, and that's why I just absolutely love that game so much. So yeah, so Life is Strange. So so you're on to episode 4 now. So you've got like 2 more to go.
Yeah. So I've just got it's 5 or 6 in the first season. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm getting towards the end of it now anyway. So I think depending on what Anna's doing tonight, I might, because I'm about halfway through that episode because I fell asleep through it when I was playing it yesterday. So I'll go back and potentially finish that off tonight, and then start episode 5 afresh, and then move on to Before the Storm. Then I might wait a little bit longer till more episodes are out for season 2 to kind of play it in a bit more of a continuous fashion, because otherwise I'll end up forgetting what I've done in the previous episode. So I might hang fire with that a little while.
Yeah, I mean, they don't seem to be linked at the moment. They don't seem to be linked. It does ask you, so it does ask you a couple of questions right at the start, but they're not really linked. So I think Arcadia Bay, I think you're around that area at the moment. Who knows? We're only into like 2 episodes, but it's definitely maybe one of those ones where you could give yourself a little bit of distance between the 1 and 2, and play something else so you don't get fatigued by that kind of that kind of gameplay where you're making your choices. And there's lots of stuff coming out. We've got Crackdown coming out next Friday, and so there's
is that next Friday?
Next Friday the 15th. Yes.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
Yes. It's going to come out. Wow. We've got we're podding on Tuesday. What day is it? It's Tuesday the 5th of February. And straight after this pod, there will be the Inside Xbox, and I think it's going to be very Crackdown 3 heavy. But yeah, and that's coming out on the 15th.
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? That has to be Crackdown. So we've not really heard, considering it's out Friday next week, we've not really heard much about it.
A week on Friday. Yeah, we've got a week and change to go. And then on the same day as that, you've got the EA Access version of Anthem as well. It's coming out on the 15th as well. So I think there's a few other games coming out around that time, but they're the kind of biggies. So have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, so the only other thing that I've been playing is Lego Harry Potter on the Switch. Yeah. So I sent my disc back to Boomerang, and then there was kind of a few games at the top that I was quite hoping for. I'm sure one of the games that you've been playing is Kingdom Hearts 3. That was at the top of my list. That was number 1 because I've been, as we've discussed in our own sort of WhatsApp group, I've been waiting this game to come out since ever. since 2 first came out. This has been in development we've been waiting for this game for over 10 years now. 10 or 15 years, I think. I don't quote me when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, but it's been a while. So I was hoping for that to come. Then I had things like Lego DC Villains on there as well. But yeah, everything kind of just slowly dripped away to saying all on rent, medium weight, and then the other thing that was kind of in the top 5 was Lego Harry Potter. So not any disrespect to it, but I was kind of hoping that I'd get Kingdom Hearts 3. But there we go. So yeah, so I've got that on the Switch. Obviously I've played that, back in the days of the 360 PS3, because it has been re-released recently, hasn't it, for the Xbox One and the PS4, but also on the Switch now. And I think, barring a few sort of technical and running issues, I think the Lego games are quite a perfect fit for the Switch, really. It's kind of that casual fit of just hop in, hop out sort of thing, especially for co-op as well, because I went over to my brother's house to clear his garage out on Sunday, and my nephew's got a Switch, and he's only 5, and it's incredible how he plays it already. He sits there and plays Mario on it himself. He's got Mario Odyssey. Right. And just watching him play it at 5 years old on his own, oh, look, Uncle Steve, look at me doing this, I've got this, I've got these supermoons sort of thing. It's just incredible to watch him play it. But yeah, I know, I couldn't have done that at 5, it's different sort of growing up nowadays, isn't it? But yeah, just sort of the Lego games on the Switch work perfectly, because we docked his Switch and played it on the big TV, but even still, just even with the little controllers between the two of us, it was still a nice sort of little co-op game to play together. Yes. The DC supervillains, but yeah, the Harry Potter games, I kind of got an itch for them because Anna's niece and nephew got a PS4 for Christmas, and one of the games I got them was the re-release of the Harry Potter games, and I helped Ava play a little bit on the PS4 on the second controller, and I was like, ooh, I could really play that again, So obviously, like I say, with the Switch, you can just pick it up any time. If there's a time when I'm not sharing a lunch with anybody at work, I could take the Switch to work and just happily sit and play that for an hour whilst I'm having my lunch, sort of thing. So yeah, it's like I say, there's just a few sort of little running errors, not sort of errors, but issues with it in terms of a bit choppy every now and then. Because obviously, when it's in portable mode, obviously the power's a bit throttled, sort of thing. So obviously, it's not the most powerful of games. But obviously, when you've got that, there's 7 or 8 games on there now. I think it comes in 2 parts, but considering the number of games that are on there, what they get out of the little cartridges is still good. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm only on the first year because it only turned up yesterday. Right. I was hoping it'd come Saturday, but only turned up yesterday. So I'm only kind of still in the first year. But yeah, it's just a nice little casual game on the side to play when you're sitting watching a bit of TV. Anna's got some rubbish on the main telly downstairs. So keeps me going, keeps me tied over. So. so it's a nice little addition to the Switch catalogue. Anyway,
fantastic. So it's running okay on the Switch, apart from maybe when you get some big scenes with lots of stuff happening, and then maybe a little bit of a frame rate drop or something like that.
Yeah, it's more like when when there's a load of studs on the screen, and that sort of thing. I mean, it's not. I think it's not a sort of an issue as the sort of the new ones, because obviously there's no voice acting on this one, so obviously it's just kind of all the the muted sort of scenes where they just kind of go.
Right. Was that before they kind of started doing the overlay of the movies and stuff? Right. Okay.
Yeah. This was way before. Yeah, because obviously this is more sort of the time of the Star Wars ones,
that was awesome.
Pirates of the Caribbean, you have the Indiana Jones, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's kind of a bit sort of the earlier Lego games. So those are not as much to run, but I've noticed kind of at the top. You get your stud counter at the top, where it kind of tops up how many studs you've got. That's non-existent. You can't. Your studs kind of go to the top of the screen and disappear, but you've no idea what percentage you've got because you can't see it. But like I said, sometimes it's just a few sort of, a bit of a choppy frame rate when there's a load of studs on screen and there's a lot of characters on screen. But apart from that, it's fine. I'm sure if you put it in docked mode, I'm sure that'll probably kind of dissipate somewhat because obviously you've got a bit of the extra power with it being docked. But it's it's perfectly playable. It doesn't ruin the game at all, and it looks fine. Do you know what I mean? So it's I'm happy with it, and even if I'd have bought it, not rented it, I'd be perfectly happy with how it's turned out.
Superb. You don't have to adjust your screen, do you? Because it's really funny because Nicola was playing Civilization 6 on Sunday. She's stopped playing Spider-Man for a bit. Started playing Civilization 6, and some of the estate was off of the screen, so I just popped it into the options mode, and then I just kind of when you kind of reduce it, it was like her arrows were outside of the screen area, so I just reduced that, and then she could see all of like the left and right icons and stuff like that. So that was like but you were saying that's in handheld mode.
Yeah, it's in handheld mode. Yeah. So it's not even when it's docked. Yeah, like I say, it's as if it's there because the studs kind of go to the top middle of the screen, but it's just not showing. The stud counter's just not there.
How bizarre!
So I don't know if it's going to be sort of an update in an update in terms of a download, or if it's just a case of it's been left out. I don't know, or it's not been picked up on. I don't know, but like I say, it doesn't ruin it because I'm not a completionist anyway. As much as I love the Lego games, I'm not one to get 100% on everything, so I'm not bothered about kind of going and getting the 100% studs on every level anyway. I'm kind of just more wanting just to play it through and then send it on back. So, but if it was something that you were bothered about, then until you actually get 100%, get the true wizard, as it were, on each level, you wouldn't know how you've got till you've done it. So,
is that what it is? Is it true wizard on there?
True wizard, yeah. I mean, it's true anything on it. All of them, I think, isn't It's true Jedi on Star Wars, true adventure,
true believer,
Indiana Jones, true pirate on the Pirates of the Caribbean,
true believer on Marvel,
Yeah. So it's true something or other every time. It's all super cheese. It's always cheesy, isn't it, with the Lego games? So yeah, I don't know what it is on the DC villains one though, because we didn't collect, because I got told off for collecting all the coins when I played.
Right.
Yeah, Uncle, see what you're doing over there. I'm collecting the coins. We don't need the coins. We don't need the coins. Like, you do need the coins.
You do. Later on, if you want to unlock all those characters, you're going to need those studs.
Yeah. Well, that's it. He keeps telling me about all these characters unlocked in Mario because he's trying to collect all the moons to get to he's trying to get to the secret level. It's only 5 he's trying to do that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm saying if you want to get all the characters like you're doing in Mario, you need the coins. No, you need to come here. So yes, I was dragged beyond my will from.
He'll learn. The problem is he's probably watching YouTube, isn't he? And like kind of seeing all this kind of special stuff, and wants to get there straight away. He'll learn. That whippersnapper will learn.
Yeah, he'll overcome me at some point in the future, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. So is that it? Your Life is Strange in the Lego Harry Potter?
Yes,
that's really good.
That's pretty much it, yeah, to be fair. Like I said, it's been fairly quiet. Just kind of, it'll be sort of cracked down next week, so when that comes out, and hopefully inevitable when Kingdom Hearts lands from Boomerang, it'll be that. But what is it that's been kind of in the disc tray for you this last month?
Well, I've been playing quite a few things. I mean, I think when we podded last, I was just about to jump into Resident Evil 2, so we've been playing Resident Evil 2, and that is just, it's fantastic. It's so good. Actually, I'll get to the point but it's an amazing re-image of Resident Evil 2. So I think Resident Evil 2, I played it way back in the day. I think you and I were chatting about it when you were on the pod last, and I played through Resident Evil 2 back in the day on the PlayStation 1, and I absolutely loved it. But this game just adds so much more to an already amazing game. You know, I was absolutely just loving this game. So I'm playing as Leon first, because you get to either play as Leon or Jill, and you get to kind of play those kind of two missions. But I'm playing Leon first, and I'm kind of going around, even though I was going to play the other one because of Leon's stupid hair. But I started playing as Leon, and I was really enjoying it. And I would say I was really enjoying it. And the puzzles are, you know, normal kind of Resident Evil bonkers puzzles, you know, kind of find this switch, get this, and it does a really good job of also telling you kind of what you need and where they are. So once you've unlocked the maps, once you've unlocked a floor, you can then press, I think it might be the back button or something like that on the Xbox controller, and it will show you a map of the area and say, okay, you need to get in here, but you need the spade key. You know, you have guns are here, or this is here, and it marks it on the map, so that makes it a lot easier to kind of run around, because I think I remember when I was playing it originally that I was kind of marking on a notepad where things were, but it was just, so I was going through this game, really enjoying it. It looks amazing. And then Mr. X appeared. So there's a tyrant that appears, and now the tyrant only ever appeared in the second playthrough in the original game. But what they've done here to add the attention, they've added Mr. X the Tyrant to the first playthrough as well. So I was just like, there was a crashed helicopter, kind of put that out by doing a puzzle, and then suddenly there was just this noise, and his music kind of kicked in, and suddenly he's standing there, this kind of huge guy, almost like a Frankenstein guy, and he just walks after you, and he just kind of strolls after you. I took some shots at him, took his hat off, got an achievement, nice, which I didn't know about, so that was really cool. But now, for the rest of the game, you can forever hear him just walking around. So on my headphones, so I'm playing it with headphones, all I can do is just hear his footsteps. So you're trying to solve a puzzle, you've got zombies, you've got lickers, you've got zombie dogs coming after you, and then you can just hear this like doom, doom, doom of the just footsteps of this Mr. X just coming after you, and you'll turn around a corner and he's there. And the amount of times that this has made me scream with my headphones on is just, I've lost count, and it's amazing, and I really enjoy it, and I'm going to go back to it after I finish playing Kingdom Hearts. But it got to the point where I was trying to play it at night, headphones on, and it just got me into such a panic. You know, I had my watch on, so I was checking my heart rate, and my heart rate was going up by 20 BPMs. Every time he turned, it went from a resting 80, 70 to like 100. And I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't walking. I was just sitting on my sofa, and then he turned up, and my heart rate started racing. You know, and I'm sitting on the edge of my sofa, and I'm getting really excited. But I'm trying to do these things, and all you hear is just a thud, 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 and it was just so scary. So Kingdom Hearts came out. I didn't get one from Boomerang either, so I was I thought I pre-ordered it ages ago on Boomerang, and I got it on Xbox, but it never turned up from Boomerang. So I went out that day and just kind of like picked up the disc copy. I thought, you know what, I really want to try this. I can pass it on once I've finished with it and stuff like that. But I thought I'd just give it a try, and so I put that in, and Kingdom Hearts is just such a different change of pace and style and happiness, you know, compared to Resident Evil. But I will go back to Resident Evil. I'm not going to park it there. I want to at least finish Leon's story, because I was enjoying it. You know, I was absolutely loving it.
I was going to say, sorry, I was going to say I've seen sort of YouTube clips and things of that Mr. X, and it just seems so freaky, you know, just to see him come out of nowhere, and people just actually, because you can't put the guy down, can you? No. You know, just like you say, you shoot him, and he's like a bullet sponge, and he just walks after you. It's like the most offsetting thing I've seen in a game for a long time. You know, just to see this guy just trudging after you and just not go down. Yeah. You know, it's just really, really off-putting. You know, even just watching it.
But you panic. You panic. There's a level, there's a room, the library, where you've got to do some pulleys. So you've got to try and pull. You find something to kind of to release one of the banks of books. You know, in this library, they're on a slide, and then you have to position them so you can walk across. And so I'm trying to do that, and suddenly I'm laying on the floor because Mr. X has just come from behind and punched me. I think I had my headphones off at that point because I was getting too stressed, and it just punches me from behind. So I then run up to the top. He follows me, and I just jump down the ladder. I thought, I'll never get down the ladder. It's trying to pull. A zombie's trying to get me. I'm shooting the zombie, and then he just drops down the ladder. And then run around. I was just running around this room trying to do this pulley thing. And I was just like, really? Is this what you want from your game? But you're right. You can't, a grenade will kind of get him to go to one. It will drop to a knee. So he will drop to a knee. If you throw a flashbang in his eyes, he will cover his eyes. But they just stall him. You can't take him down at this point. So that whole library thing. And then I kind of get up there, and then suddenly you just see him walking up the stairs, and he's forever following you and scaring you, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just so foreboding. And it's just, like I say, when you're in a room, or when I'm in the main hallway, and you can just hear the door go, and then you just hear the footsteps, you're instantly just looking around because you're trying to solve a puzzle, and you're just instantly looking around because he's coming. You try and kind of get him to come down one flight of stairs so you can go up the other and try and get a little bit of a jump on him. But you can't even hide, because there was one doorway where I kind of ran up these stairs, so he was way behind me. And I went into a room and I hid. So I took out the zombie that was in there, and then I just hid in the room. You can't crouch. So I just stood behind a bookcase, and he just came straight into that room. And then I was stuck, and at that point I just had to die because I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out of the room. And a zombie tried to come in, and a licker was outside, and I was just like, oh my god. And I think that was the point where I'm like, I'm going to play Kingdom Hearts. Just like,
I'm going to leave this for now.
But I will go back to it, because like I say, I was really enjoying it. Even if I just finish this story, this playthrough, it's so good. It's so good. It's so Resident Evil, but it looks fantastic, and I'm just really enjoying it.
Like you say, it's good to kind of be back for, like we said last time we were offered, to see what it was like in comparison to how it was back then to now, isn't it? Like you say, it's the same but different in a way, isn't it? You know, so it's good to kind of see it how it is now in terms of how it was back then.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like as I said before, another game that I've been playing is Kingdom Hearts 3. So I jumped into Kingdom Hearts kind of when it came out. Now, unlike you, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game before. So a lot of this story makes no sense to me whatsoever. This person filling in an empty vessel of this person having a heart. And it's just bonkers. I'm like, yeah, I'm not skipping any of the cutscenes because I want to try and understand it. But at the same time, I'm just like, just get me to the next Disney level, because this is but it's great. I'm really enjoying it. So far I've played Hercules level. It's not a spoiler if I say some of the levels, is it? I guess it's just
I think the kind of most of the levels have been publicised anyway. I think it's kind of been released, because I think that's kind of what everyone's worry was, what levels were going to be, but they kept saying what world's going to be in there, but Hercules world's been in there anyway.
Well, I definitely there's two worlds. The two worlds I'll talk about, I'm on my fourth world now, but the two worlds that I've been in, I'll talk about. The others I'll just kind of keep quiet because they're really cool. But Hercules was that, and it has the style of the Hercules animated movie. All the swirls and James Woods is voicing Hades. It's got some of the characters, the voice characters back for this, and it's fantastic. And I'm just it's exactly what I need right now. It's just kind of very much kind of press X to kind of take them all down. It's got some great set pieces, some great special moves. So once you kind of maybe you hit a character 3 or 4 times, or start getting up a combo, you then start having Y to do some different things. There's a couple of combos where you bring in Donald or you bring in Goofy, and they just fill the screen on the X on the big TV, in 4K HDR. This looks spectacular at some point. I was playing one of the levels that I won't talk about, but I was playing the final boss, and that final boss was a nightmare. And a funny thing about that, but I'll get to that in a moment. And I was playing it on the other TV, which is an X, but just on a 1080p TV, and it was looking amazing. It was looking fantastic. And then when I switched over to the bigger TV, the HDR was really kind of because as you were going up this tower, the lighting was changing, and it was all just like really different. And I really noticed like the difference between those on that, and it really was popping. And all of those combos were really kind of, there's one that kind of when you with Donald, and it just lets off loads of fireworks, and that just looks amazing kind of in 4K HDR. but this one boss on a level, I could not do it. So I was cooking, I think I was cooking a Sunday roast. I think it was Sunday. I was cooking a Sunday roast and kind of going backwards and forwards, when things are boiling and roasting, and I'm going backwards and forwards trying to do this. And I must have tried about 8 times, maybe even 10, and I could not do this boss. And then on Monday, after I finished work, Nicola was kind of running late, so I just fired up Kingdom Hearts. I thought, I'm going to give a try with this boss. First time, I just took the boss down. It was like first time, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I love it and hate it when that happens, because you're thinking, where was my head like yesterday? Was I too caught up in it? But that was a really good battle. But so I've done Hercules, and then I also did Toy Story as well. And Toy Story looks phenomenal. It looks like you're playing the movie. It looks like you're playing Toy Story 2. Maybe not. Did you see the trailer for Toy Story 4, like the Super Bowl trailer?
I haven't seen any trailers, because there was there was an Avengers trailer as well, wasn't there?
There was
an Endgame trailer. I haven't seen either, to be honest with you.
Oh wow!
I've seen kind of reactions to it, but I've not actually seen either of them.
But the Toy Story 4, they just did this cutaway to like a fun fair, and the graphics, the art style looks incredible. But anyway, Kingdom Hearts 3 and Toy Story, it definitely looks like Toy Story 2, and they have some good voice actors. There's a lot of the actors are back. The guy who plays Ham, John Ratzenberger, is there. By all accounts, it's Tom Hanks's brother who does Woody. Who does the voice of Woody?
Really?
Yeah, so it's not Tim Allen and it's not Tom Hanks, but it's like Barry Hanks, or whatever his name is, But he does a really good impression of his brother, and that was really good fun, because you also got to go into a mech at the same time. So you go into this like toy store, and there's like these big robots, so you just jump into that. But the thing that I love about this is just playing with the Disney characters. Every now and then a Disney character will kind of pop in. There's a really good character that you cook with, so you find ingredients and you cook with one of these characters. It's really cool. But I just love all the fact that you get to do these special combos together, but you also get to do lots of Disney rides. So if there's a certain enemy on screen and they have like a green, almost like a fancier green reticle around them, if you take that character out, reticle, that's just
reticle.
That's just
We're making words up now.
Completely different. Reticle around it. If you take that character out, you have a Disney ride to activate. So they've got like teacups, the water ride, a pirate ship, and these are just amazing. They look like they're out of there was this horrible parade when we went to Disneyland, not last time before. It's this like electric light parade, and it just has this same 80s electronic music, and like Nicola was like, I'm in hell watching this, but it was great. I mean, I'm sure it looked great at night, but this was like in the daytime, and it just did look like hell. But it looks like they come from there, but they're just so great, just to kind of suddenly you're in teacups, or suddenly you're in this water thing, and then you take out the characters using that, and it was just, there's some little touches like that I'm just absolutely loving. Like I say, when it goes to all of the Square Enix characters, and they're all talking about the organization, or Organization 13, and this person being remade by someone's heart, or this person who's a vessel and he has no heart, I have no idea what they're talking about, but it sounds fun, and but I'm just really enjoying just playing the game. The getting in between the worlds, you're flying this ship, and I think this was in Kingdom Hearts, I don't know, 1.9.7.2 or something. I think it was in one of those, and that is horrible. Flying this little square clunky ship.
Gummy ship, is it?
Yeah, the gummy ship. Flying that, I have no idea how I get. It's saying, you need to shoot this over here or shoot this out. I was like, no, I'm just going to try because I can't control it. I almost feel like I've got my controller upside down or something. I just cannot control it. So the gummy ship is horrible. But I get to where I need to go. I get to the worlds that I need to go. And I'm just heading to one that I really want to get to. I'm playing at the moment, and that's fantastic. But like I say, I mean, all in all, I was intrigued. I knew that you liked it. I know that there's kind of been a lot of buzz about it. Lots of podcasts I've been listening to have been quite hyped and quite excited about it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go and just jump in, just to chat about it, on the pod. And I'll be really interested when you kind of get your copy from Boomerang or my copy, if I throw my copy up to you. I'd be really interested to see, kind of what you think of it, because being a Kingdom Hearts fan, I'd be really interested to kind of see how your take on it.
Yeah, well, I think with all the best will in the world, I think anyone who kind of sticks to the sort of the Kingdom Hearts games would struggle to kind of truly understand what's going on, because there have been so many sort of spin-offs for it. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of the games in there that you would quite happily not play, and you wouldn't be any sort of worse off for the storyline. If there is a set way to play them if you want to be sort of be religious about it, and I think I'm right in saying that all of them are now available as part of the remastered collections that have come out for the PlayStation. But yeah, the sort of the main three are the sort of the ones that I've stuck to. I mean, I've dabbled with the other ones, that have come out on the sort of the Nintendo platforms, the portable platforms.
Right.
There was even one on the PSP, I think. Or
the Vita? Was it the
Vita?
Vita
Or something? I'm sure there was one on something.
Dream Drop Distance or something.
Yeah, Dream Drop Distance. There's 360 something days, or and there's all all that sort of nonsense that's come out as well. But like you say, everything is just magically and sort of really thoughtfully created in terms of the worlds, and that was the thing that kind of captured me when I played the first one, because I think I mentioned this at the time when we were either last podding or in the WhatsApp group. I can't have been older than 12 when the first one came out.
Yes.
Been thrown into this world that was full of everything that I liked, Disney, Final Fantasy, it's got kind of Cloud from Final Fantasy, it's got Sora, Sora as the main character, this new kind of character that's kind of a bit like Cloud, but then kind of like Strife, from Final Fantasy VIII, and then you've got all the Disney characters, like so you've got Donald, you've got Goofy, then you've got the Colosseum world, you've got you've got Halloween Town from Nightmare Before Christmas, you've got Tarzan, Little Mermaid, all these sort of different worlds that are really sort of thoughtfully and well designed, in terms of true to the sort of the source material in terms of the movies, the books, and a lot of the Disney lore and the Final Fantasy lore as well, as much as anything. Like you say, how anyone ever came up with this idea, I've no idea. It's just, I know, we'll take Disney, we'll take Final Fantasy, and we'll just squish them together, because on paper, it doesn't work. If you think about it, it doesn't work.
No.
But when you actually play it, it's just executed perfectly, and it's just, Square, the combination of Square Enix and Disney have done a cracking job of the last two, and I honestly can't wait to sort of play this one as well. I think it'll be strange playing it on the Xbox, because I think I'm going to play it on the Xbox to get, like you say, the 4K HDR benefits out of it, just to see what it's like. But I am so excited to play that Toy Story world. One of my favourite games from the PlayStation era was Toy Story 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just play, running around Andy's house in that game, and I can't wait to play this world on this, because it's just, like you say, the fan service that they do in terms of recreating it, is just phenomenal, and I'm guessing this will end the trilogy, this game. I've not really kind of gone into that yet,
Right.
I've tried to kind of steer away from seeing what happens in the end and staying away from reviews and what people are saying, because I'm guessing it will end the trilogy. I would have thought. I can't see it carrying on any further, given how long it's taken for, between 2 and 3 coming out. If we have to wait like another Final Fantasy VII, if you have to wait, for the next, if we do get Kingdom Hearts 12 for that to come out. So, I've kind of invested kind of a lot of sort of time and years into this franchise, really, in terms of waiting for this to come out. So I hope if it is, this is it. I hope it's tied up nicely, in terms of all the, the loose ends tied up. It's kind of polished off and doesn't leave anything, to the imagination or on a cliffhanger for another one to come out. Because I don't think, as much as I love it, I don't think it will need it.
No.
I don't think it would need another game. But yeah, I just can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah.
If funding allowed it, it's something that I would normally buy. But given that we're getting married next year, I'm kind of trying to rein the spending in. So for as long as I've got my Boomerang subscription, I will just rent my games and do that instead. So yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to it, and having a bit of a chinwag with you once you kind of sunk a few hours into it, and I have as well.
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, even in when you go into the Toy Story world or the other worlds, the characters look different as well. Like Sora, Donald, and Goofy. They look different as well, which is just, and that I love. When you saw them in the Toy Story world, it's just absolutely fantastic. And as you say, Andy's room is just, it looks like it's modelled on the movies, it's so good. And you get free reign to just kind of jump on the bed, with a Buzz Lightyear duvet. It's just fantastic. It's just really good. And that, for me, more so than, Hercules or anything, it was just really nice to kind of go into. And I think there's some more Pixar the worlds in there as well, and I'm looking forward to maybe kind of going into another Pixar world, so yeah, I can't wait to just keep playing. Like I say, for me, it's just I'm not too bothered about doing lots of side stuff. I just really want to go to each of the worlds, because it's almost like each of the worlds are contained. It's almost like a bit like what was it, the Lego Infinity that came out a couple of years ago, or the kind of the Toys to Life. It's almost a bit like that, Disney Infinity, that was it, not Lego Infinity. Disney Infinity is a bit like that, where you just, each one you can just kind of go, and it's just a self-contained story, but then it kind of interspersed with this kind of bonkers kind of Square Enix Disney stuff. I mean, it's really because I am enjoying it. I did have a quick read about like Kingdom Hearts franchise, and I believe there's like an urban myth that Square Enix and Disney were in the same building, and someone from Disney got in the lift with someone from Square Enix, and they said, "Oh, we want to make a game with you," type thing. And then they went, "Okay," and it kind of went from there, and it kind of grew from there. That was the kind of urban legend that I was kind of reading. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you could believe it, couldn't you? Because you can't think of in any sort of other circumstance how these sort of two people would ever come together, can you?
No.
Because like I said, you can't ever think seriously that somebody had put a lot of thought into, let's just take these two things and just squish them together. Because it must have just been, like you say, a chance meeting of some variety, or just two people going, what if we did that? Just off the cuff remark, what if we put Final Fantasy into sort of, into the Traverse Town, in terms of, that's the kind of fictional world in that sense. But what if we put these characters into, Tarzan, into Little Mermaid, into Toy Story, or into Hercules, and it's just, I think that's kind of part of the reason why the story doesn't make much sense beyond, the kind of the sort of, like you said, the heartless and things like that, when you're going to go to the organisation and these don't have a heart and but if you think of it, it makes sense in terms of all the evil characters that are in Disney, like you say, in terms of Hades, that sort of thing, in terms of blending them together. But I think that's kind of why the story's a bit choppy, at the best of times, because it's obviously you can't really make a story sort of work, or a sort of believable. How believable can it be? But a sort of a coherent story between these sort of two massive franchises, really.
Exactly. I think the only shame that we have really is the fact that it took so long for them to kind of make this game, and because now, if you think about Disney, they now own Marvel, they now own Star Wars, so you would be able to get, Marvel and Star Wars franchise now in Kingdom Hearts, and just that alone would be fantastic. Imagine having like the Avengers, imagine going through a level with the Avengers, or with the new Star Wars, so with like Rey and Finn and Poe and all that sort of stuff, that would just be fantastic. So that would have been amazing. That alone would be a good reason to kind of make another game. But I can see what you mean. It's taken like 8 or 9 or 10. I think it was 2005 when.
Just looking at it now, it's 2005.
Yeah, Kingdom
so
Hearts.
14 years.
14 years to create this game.
I was 13 when the second game came out.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought right there.
Wow. But so that's Kingdom Hearts. Like I say, I'm just about to go on to my 4th world. So I've had that one, and that one. So no, my 5th world. So I'm just about to go into my 5th world, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Other games I've been playing, like I said before, we were talking about the Super Bowl. I jumped into Madden on Super Bowl Sunday. Madden 19 unlocked on EA Access. So if you've got EA Access, the latest version of Madden, I guess they're getting ready for the next version to be out in time for September. The Madden 19 is now available on EA Access, so I kind of fired that up, and then straight away on the main menu, it just went, "Do you want to play the Super Bowl?" So it was Rams versus the Patriots. So obviously, because I'm not heartless from Kingdom Hearts, I chose the Rams, and and I had an awesome game, and I was just kind of like, and played that. So that's really cool. It looks amazing. It would be quite fun just to kind of dip in and out. And then keeping with EA, the last game that I've been playing this week was Anthem. So I jumped into both of the demos, the VIP demo to start off with, and then, which was a little bit choppy, a little bit kind of, it took some time. I think I got to play it early on the Saturday, and I got to play early on the Sunday, but I think if you tried to do the VIP one later on in the afternoon when the US woke up, you had a hard time to kind of get in. But thankfully and luckily, the the demo that was this weekend, no matter what time I played it, and I did try it throughout the days on both Saturday and Sunday, I seemed to be getting in fine, and didn't seem to have a problem. So they definitely kind of learnt from the VIP demo, as we were saying kind of in our group, it really should have been a beta rather than a demo because it really was kind of a bit choppy. But the latest one, which was this weekend, or the weekend just gone, was absolutely fantastic. It kind of, I'm still not 100% sure on the game. I'm sure it would be better with a group of people. I'm sure it'd be better kind of like jumping in and playing, because I think you've got 4 spots similar to Destiny. You've got like kind of 4 or 5 spots where you can just all kind of team up and kind of like jump into it. I'm sure it'll be fun with a group of people playing solo, and I didn't have my headphones on, so I wasn't kind of communicating with anyone. It was a little bit soulless, but I think, this is just a slice. You're jumping in at level 10. It feels great. It feels like it could have something there, but I'm just not 100% sure at the moment. But I was just pleased to see that we had moved on in terms of kind of the problems that we had in the VIP demo. Did you get a chance to play it at all, Steve?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually know. Like I say, it's a shame because I was kind of, all last week, I had something going on every day. It was, I think, after work, every night of work, I had something going on.
Get you!
And then, I know, I'm like, it sounds like I'm a social butterfly, but I'm really not. I'm really, really not. I think it's kind of like, I can't remember now. I think Tuesday I was at Mum and Dad's house, and then Wednesday I played football. Thursday I had a meal out with work, and then Friday I do archery, and then Saturday was Anna's day off, and that was our only day off together. So then that chewed up Saturday, and then we were at her sister's and her husband's on Saturday, and then Sunday it was football. It was American football, so it's like kind of like all last week was chewed up. So admittedly I haven't actually had a chance to kind of dip into that, but. The guy at work, Ollie, he's massively hyped for this. He on Facebook all the time. I see him sharing things about Anthem. It's like Anthem this, Anthem that. The build up and excitement to it. I mean, it's a shame he plays on PS4, and obviously, as we've discussed before many times, all of us are kind of more Xbox players as opposed to PlayStation players. But he's kind of holding out hope for this. In terms of. He thinks it's going to be huge, in terms of. I mean, I jibe him quite a lot, saying, "Don't get your hopes up." Don't get it's not going to be as good as it is. And like, using my sort of logical and rational head of it's an EA game. And recently, what's happened with EA recently? With cancelling things and canning things and all sorts of things with Battlefront and what have you. But I think it will be okay. Mm-hmm.
It's BioWare as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's BioWare as well.
Pedigree of BioWare. Yeah.
That's it. It's like you say, the story behind it. Their sort of script writing and story building and world build. That could make it huge. In terms of their pedigree that they've got behind them. But it's just we had this conversation about Destiny, didn't we? The last time we were on together, it's like kind of it makes me think if it's kind of going to be that sort of game again, or how much life and longevity does it have in it, in terms of, because there's only so much, I mean, we're in a sort of a really advanced sort of stage now with games and consoles that they're massively powerful, but they're not powerful enough to kind of make a sort of a more infinite sort of structure and sort of mission variety and worlds and things, it's always going to be capped because of the technology that's available, which albeit it's great, but it's not to the point where what Destiny wanted to be, and kind of I think what Anthem wants to be in terms of it's just this world that keeps expanding and expanding and expanding because it can, it can because it is limited by the technology that it's built on. If it was PCs, then fair enough, it might be a bit more sort of free to do it, and sort of looking further down the line, if it's kind of powered by the Microsoft Cloud or any other sort of cloud technology, if that's done in the background, in terms of the processing of it, then it might be possible, but I just get worried about it, like say with Destiny, with terms of it might be good for a month, or so in terms of, you'll play it religiously with a group of people for, a month or so, but then, well, what happens after that? What keeps you going? What gets you through to the next content drop, or the next kind of world opening up, or, whatever it might be. So I think I'll play it, I'm not doubting, if we get together, play it online between us, I think it'll be good, but when you've got, well, I mean, how sort of like the Division, when that comes out, how good that's going to be, there's other things out there, like sort of online social games that could kind of quite easily, if it's not good, put it to one side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could quite easily get forgotten, again, when sort of like Forza next content drops come out and Sea of Thieves and that sort of thing, things that are already kind of more well established, it's like, is there room for another sort of massively open sci-fi online game. I don't know, but I'm willing to give it a go, but I'm still kind of a bit trepidant towards it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to see kind of what the world is that BioWare have built, and then kind of because, like I say, at the moment, I don't really have any kind of connection to my character. It's just all just your level 10, and then I know they had to do this to give you this like vertical slice of gameplay, so kind of what that is. But yeah, no, I'd be interested to see kind of have the world building around it, what the story is, what I'm doing, and also, as you were saying, what gets you to that next content drop. Because there was something quite nice about Destiny and Destiny 2 about just like Nicola and I jumping on and just having a game, just going, right, okay, this evening we're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to do the weeklies, we're going to do the dailies, because we were waiting for that next content drop, but we knew we had to get our light level to a certain point so we could enjoy the next content. And that kind of grind was quite nice, and I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what they're doing in Anthem, because you're absolutely spot on. Division is not far away. I mean, we've got the private beta of Division this weekend. I can't wait to jump in Division 2. But then the Division doesn't come out until the end of March, isn't it? I think we've got so Anthem's in between this private beta of Division 2 and the release. You've got Anthem actually coming out. Like I say, it's coming out on the 15th for EA Access members, and then 22nd of February for everybody else. So you do have a good couple of weeks, but whether that's enough to get your hooks in you and actually go, right, I want to play Anthem every night. I want to kind of jump on, and it'll be interesting to see. And I like I say, it looked great. It was the gun mechanics could feel just a little bit better. They're a little bit floaty. They feel like a Mass Effect game almost. It's like, so it kind of feels a bit like that. But I wouldn't mind a little bit more kind of impact, feeling a bit more impact on it. But apart from that, it's just semantics, So I'll be, like I say, I'm still kind of umming and ahhing, and I guess it kind of depends on who, in our group. If us as a group are jumping into it, then I wouldn't mind jumping in. Nicola didn't seem very impressed. She normally likes sci-fi shooters, but she didn't seem like majorly impressed when I was showing her. So I'll be interested to see kind of what happens as it comes out, and whether there is a real fan base for it.
And based on obviously the sort of the demo and the beta, obviously it's just how good is it come launch. That's another thing in terms of these games either sort of sink or swim based on the launch, don't they? If it's a mess on launch, much like sort of online games like Fallout 76 and other things have been, if it gets a bad reputation, it gets a bad rap from day one because it's just a mess. It's doomed from the start, isn't it? Because if those servers, aren't right, or something fails, obviously they had issues with that private demo and people can't get on. If that happens, that just kills it instantly. Because people unfortunately aren't very patient or forgiving in this day and age. They want, if a game's out, they want to play it and they want to play it now. They don't want a server to be down, or they don't want to have to wait to play it, or so it'll be interesting to see if those issues are ironed out, and if so, what's is it 100%? Is it ready to go? Is it going to have issues? So, but yeah, what is in, because we don't know much about it beyond when it comes out, do we?
No.
Because with Destiny, when Destiny and Destiny 2 came out, we had the base game, but we already knew what was coming next and when. But with this, it's kind of, well, this is the game, and then that's it. We don't know what's in the pipeline. We don't know what's coming when. So, whether it's going to be free, whether it's going to be included, as it said, it's going to be, I can't remember now, whether it said it's going to be free, or is it going to be included? I can't remember.
I don't know, I think they might have said that the content drops are going to be free. There's no PvP, there's no PvP in the game, so there's no kind of like where Destiny has the Crucible, and you can go off and do the PvP. There's none of that at the moment in Anthem. I mean, it's smart the way they're doing it, because giving it to EA Access members on the 15th, so you have 10 hours on the 15th. I think it's 10 hours on the 15th. Or if you pre-order the game, I think you might get the whole game on the 15th. So that's quite cool, because what that does is that kind of sections off some of your player base. So obviously anyone playing on PS4, they don't have EA Access or Origins on PS4. So that kind of cuts them out on the 15th. They have to wait until the 22nd. So what you've got is almost half of your base, like PC and Xbox, coming on the 15th. So Origins and EA Access, you've got those people coming on the 15th. So that kind of gives the servers, it's almost like warming up the servers ready for that 22nd launch. So that, I think, is quite smart. And they'll be able to work around that and minimize, if there are any problems, it will only be a minimal. But it's really interesting, actually. A podcast I was listening to, I think it was yesterday, they actually pointed out the fact that a couple of weeks ago, everybody was up in arms saying how bad Anthem was, but then this week, no one was reporting that Anthem was okay. So it's really funny, isn't it, where we're kind of very quick to kind of go, there's something wrong, pitchforks and kind of marching towards EA. But then when they did it this week and they fixed all those problems, I didn't see tweets going up going, Anthem's okay, and all the servers are fine. I didn't see that. Instead, it was just like, there was just that negative. So it will be quite good if, like you say, if on the 15th comes, or everything's working for that minority or that kind of section of players, for that to kind of get some good press, because you don't want to see a game fail. I just hope they make a good game.
Yeah, well, that's it. You don't want to see it kind of, do badly, because ultimately, if it does that, then it kind of quashes the creativity and what comes out in the future, doesn't it? You want developers to push boundaries. You want publishers to get behind it. Because you want the big guys like EA, because these are the sort of people who've got the money to kind of fund these sort of games, aren't they? Like much like Activision did with Destiny and Destiny 2. Barring sort of, dare I mention it, what was it called now? I can't remember. The game that everyone hated that came out that was rubbish on the PS4. No Man's Sky. That's the one.
Right.
Sort of like indies don't have the money to kind of do these sort of games, do they? The small guys don't have them. So you want these kind of games to succeed in a way. So then people keep pushing boundaries, pushing the technology, and getting something new, because I think, in this sort of market, things get quite crowded quite quickly, don't they, in terms of, similar experiences. So we want these new experiences, we want new adventures, new worlds, new characters. So hopefully, like I say, it might not be for me, but hopefully it does well enough to either warrant another one or warrant somebody to try something similar in a different genre, So
absolutely,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Indeed. Right. Should we jump into the news section?
Yes, let's move on.
But before we get into the news section, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube. So in this week's news, Sony has started focusing on the PS5 development. Microsoft is going multi-platform, and Puxatawny Phil finally makes it into a video game. I've been wanting this to happen for years. Steve, the first piece of news is with you.
Yes, so as you just said, there's kind of mutterings and kind of a word on the grapevine that Sony is now gearing up towards the PS5. So they're kind of the first party studios sort of turning their attention to the future, kind of ditching the PS4 and looking more sort of to the PS5. I mean, in truth, you wouldn't say there's probably not a lot to come out left for the PS4 from the first party people, would you really? Because, I mean, we've had the likes of Horizon, Bloodborne, we've had Spider-Man and God of War, so you'd think that these sort of the next games in these series will be on the PS5 anyway. Mm-hmm. But, there's kind of, I think it's kind of, that's kind of the sort of the questions that are hot on the lips now in terms of as we look towards E3 this year is, what's next and when is next? Because obviously, kind of Microsoft kind of played their hand a little bit last year in terms of obviously what you're going to move on to later. Kind of a pre-segue is obviously Xbox on more devices and more on mobile platforms, isn't it? In terms of having this powerful Microsoft cloud and having access to Xbox wherever you are. So that's clearly going to play part of their future. But kind of Sony have been very tight-lipped about things, in terms of, I think they've kind of been focusing on, trying to maintain their share in this sort of generation, because obviously, as we discussed before, Xbox started slowly, but now you'd probably say that they've probably got an equal, maybe a tiny bit more share of sort of the pie now, in terms, obviously, with the X and things, in terms of they've caught up and done more than that. So it'll be interesting to see whether we get any of these sort of confirmations or previews these games, come E3 this year. And nothing really official on this news. It's kind of more experts and people who have always, these sort of inside information in terms of, a person close to the source has said sort of thing. So it is kind of just mutterings about it, but you can believe that it's happening because, PS5 and whatever the next Xbox will come out will be, must be already in the pipeline, which Xbox have already confirmed anyway. They've already confirmed they're working on the next Xbox, and it's no secret about, they made no secret about that. So Sony must obviously be doing the same somewhere, because I think we've said this before. As soon as that that one launches, someone must already be working on it. The next one. Its successor. They have to be. In this day and age with how quick technology works, so they must be working on a PS5 and an Xbox 2 or whatever it's going to be called. So it's no surprise. But like I say, it'll be interesting to see what we actually get. I mean, you're going to get the sort of the expected sort of games coming out for the next one, aren't you? Like you say, the Horizon sequel, probably a Bloodborne sequel, a new God of War, a Spider-Man sequel, that sort of thing. But
yes,
if you had one or two, even three of those at launch, it'd be a fantastic launch for a PS5, wouldn't it? Even if you chucked a sort of a Gran Turismo in there as well, it'd be a cracking sort of console launch for the PS5 in whatever form it may be.
Absolutely. I mean, over the weekend, I was quite interested to see that there were rumours that the PS5 dev kits are out. That people do have those at third party. That's obviously your Ubisofts and your EAs. They already have that the dev kit for PS5. No one was confirming, obviously, because they've probably given up their first child to Sony's NDA policies. But it was really interesting to see that they are kind of out in the wild. I mean, obviously, Sony are not going to be at E3 this year. They've already said they're not going to be there. So I would be interested to see a Sony conference before, and there was a fake invite that was flowing around going, I've just received this email, and it was like, come and see the future of PlayStation, and I think it was for next week or it was for early March. But Sony quickly kind of got in front of that and said, no, we've got nothing to show right now. But you would expect a standalone event going, here's PS5. I hope it's not as boring as the PS4 Pro one. That was just so dull. Oh my God, I can't remember how dull that was. And I love technology and I love a good teraflop. But that was just so dull. But you just want them to come out and go, this is what we got. And as you were saying, your dream lineup there, I just think that here's the game, here's a couple of new titles, but also here's some sequels, and look at them, look how amazing they are. Because, as I was saying before, Nicola's, she's now on New Game Plus of Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, so she's 100%ed the entire game, all of the DLCs, all of that, so she's gone on to New Game Plus and playing it on Ultimate Mode. There's 2 trophies left, and one of them is playing on Ultimate Mode, and one of them's playing New Game Plus, so you can combine the two together by playing Ultimate New Game Plus, and so she's doing that, and because she's so powered up, she's actually kind of finding it quite easy right now. Which made me chuckle. But I find myself, and I think I've said this before, but I find myself just sitting there looking at this game. So as Nicola's playing it, I'm just sitting there looking at this game. I'm trying to play my game, but I'm just sitting there looking at this game because it's so lovely. So that already looks stunning. The New York that they've created, all those water towers are just like absolutely gorgeous. And I'd love to see what we're going to get next. Whether we're going to get locked frame rates at 60. Obviously for the PlayStation, we're going to get 4K, right, proper 4K rather than this checkerboard. So we'll get that kind of quality and also frame rate as well. Because if you've played a game in 60, if you like either a PC or have just said, I'm not going to have graphics, I'm going to have frame rate, 60 frames a second is so smooth. I've played Forza Horizon. I changed that to like 60 frames, so I kind of did the graphics to frame rate, and just playing that I was like, wow, this is why people love PCs, because this is just incredible. But I quickly went back to the graphics because I like things that look nice, and it's just so, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for this, and that lineup that you just said there, coupled with a couple of new ones and some indie titles thrown in, would just be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's sort of, they're not as reliant on graphics. I mean, they are obviously, but kind of if you look at like sort of the generational leaps we've had between sort of the PS2 to the 360 and now from that to the PS3, 4 and Xbox One, we're more going to get, like you say, locked frame rates, 4K, HDR, that sort of thing, because we aren't going to get a sort of a generational jump in graphics again, are we, in terms of going from SD to HD? So it's going to be more the sort of the finesse of the overall package, isn't it? Going from, well, you can have one or the other to, well, you can have 4K and you can have 60 frames, Yeah.
And we're still only like 50% of the CPU of the, we're not charging this thing to the max. It's still kind of, it's comfortably doing those things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, if you've got a beefy PC, you can overclock it. But I mean, we're never going to get to that sort of sort of thing in consoles. I don't think. So obviously, I think you're going to get in dangerous waters if you start kind of overclocking consoles. Like, well, my console's broken. It's well, you overclocked it, you fool. That's why. It just blew up.
It just started. It just went into a puff of flames because you overclocked it. Yeah.
Fire. But yeah, I mean, dare we say it? Sorry, James. 8K will have to come into it at some point, won't it? Obviously, I doubt it on the next sort of generation. But it's. If we've got, like you say, if we've got those two locked and nailed in terms of you've got your 4K, you've got your 60 frames, and you've got HDR, having that silky smooth presentation, having everything crystal clear, that is kind of the future, isn't it? In terms of that's where they will have to be aiming for. Whether they can get that based on what they can put into, sort of an affordable console package, who knows? But again, this is the whole debate that we had in the WhatsApp group, and I think partially on the pod beforehand, as if obviously Microsoft are doing the sort of the background processing with the cloud, how that's going to work, and whether Sony implement that technology or their own variety, how's that going to work? Who knows, So it'll be a very interesting year this year to see who plays the hand first. In terms, like you say, if Sony do their own sort of Nintendo Direct thing and say, oh, this is the PS5. Is that going to make Microsoft do the same or vice versa? So I think it'll be an interesting year this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that obviously, I think we're all in agreement that like 8K is just too much of a pipe dream. Like even this year, we didn't even get the Super Bowl in 4K. I messaged Sky on Twitter. They came back and said, no, they get it via CBS. CBS are not doing 4K. We're way away from 8K. I know we've got screens out there. They're adding fidelity and stuff. But I kind of feel that the next generation of consoles is almost going to be, we'll get, as we were talking about, we've got the 60 frames. We get 4K. We'll get a little bit more power. If you look at some of the latest graphics cards that are out there, seeing games like Far Cry or even Resident Evil running on a really high-end console, a high-end PC with a really good graphics card is a thing of beauty. So maybe we'll get closer to that. And then maybe the PS5 Pro, the Xbox 2X5, whatever they're going to call it. It's almost like a Kingdom Hearts title now.
Yeah. But
spin-offs. Exactly, that mid-generation jump that we get, maybe that brings 8K. So you're talking another year before these consoles come out, another 4 years before that mid-generation comes out. So you're talking like within, say, 4 years, maybe we will have that 8K, and then maybe that will come then. But I can't see this generation even thinking about 8K because they have, as you said, and you're spot on. They do already think about the consoles. When I think it was almost like a year after the Xbox One came out that they were working on Xbox One X. It's almost like instant. It's like, okay, we'll do this now, we'll ship that. But as that was shipping, they were already thinking about the Xbox One X. So you can guess when the Xbox One X shipped, they're already thinking about the next one. They're already thinking about this xCloud, and the accessibility, which we'll get to in a moment. But I as I said, we all of us on the pod, we love a good console launch, and a good console announcement. And I just kind of feel, I'm hoping we get something at this E3 because Sony's saying they don't have anything. I kind of have a feeling that they might just be going, do you know what? We haven't really got much, so we're not got much to show you, but next year we're golden. But what I hope is that they're just playing, really good poker, and they're actually going to go, if Microsoft announce, you get this Sony conference and they announce.
Well, I think they'll want to be ahead again, won't they? Because they were in this sort of this generation, weren't they? I think Microsoft are very much on the back foot, and I think they'll try and make a conscious effort to kind of be on sort of either play their hands first, or should Microsoft say this is the next Xbox, then they could just instantly the day after go, well, this is PS5, just hold an emergency sort of like say PS Direct or something, and just say, well, this is what we've got going on, because they, I think the kind of the mudslinging things are kind of, I think that's days have gone of that now, haven't they? I think they're kind of more working a bit more sort of in harmony, and I think, but albeit that is the case, they are definitely still trying to compete against each other in terms of, well, we want to be better than you, we want more players on this console than yours, and in terms of trying to get more first party titles and things. So, but I think we'd have to have something, even if, like you say, just towards the end of the year or something. If they're saying they're not doing E3, but we'll have a zone show, October, September, whatever it might be, just to say, bear with us, it'll be worth the wait sort of thing, and just an outline of a console or just a logo or something, just as kind of a bit of a tease, I would have thought we'd get something around the E3 time.
I don't know about you, but I kind of feel that my prediction would be fall 2020. We're getting fall 2020. We're getting the next Xbox, and we're getting a PS4 and a PS5, and and I'm not sure about the Switch because Nintendo kind of did come out and say that they're not working on a successor at the moment of the Switch. So, and that's very Nintendo to do that. That they would kind of stick with the Switch. The Switch is selling gangbusters. Why change it right now? I would love a more powerful Switch. I'd love a Switch Pro. Take my money now for that, but I kind of don't feel that we're getting it, but I do kind of feel that we might get Project X sooner. So I think we might get the ability to play in the cloud, play on any device, which leads quite nicely into my news story. All of that, I kind of feel that we might get that this year.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of, I think it'll snowball, like you say, start off small, kind of the small victories, like you say, with the sort of the cross-play feature and what we'll lead into in terms of, like you say, the xCloud, and then build and build and build and build, and then that links all to the new Xbox, and then everything's on demand then, isn't it? Then everything's available from that console, and it's also the point of, will it have a disc tray? Because that's already been mooted, hasn't it? In terms of, will it chip with Blu-ray functionality, or will it just be, it's online only, it's digital only, which again, that's another question that's got to be raised, because, I think most people have decent internet speeds to kind of facilitate that now.
Yeah.
So will they, won't they? Who knows?
But if they don't have a disc tray, Boomerang's dead.
Yeah, well, this is it, isn't it?
Our Boomerang subscription of getting these kind of like, for me, Boomerang, I'm using as like throwaway games. I'm like, I want to play a bit of Soul Calibur, I want to play a bit of this, so I'm just kind of using that. And if we don't have a disc tray, people still love, as Stuart, when you get Stuart on the pod, he's always talking about kind of, the best way to view a movie is from a disc. So if you've got, if Sony actually put a Blu-ray player in this time, and Microsoft have this will be the third console that has a Blu-ray player, you've got all of that, then you have to have it. As much as I'm very much a digital only person, it's quite nice just to kind of be able to have that Boomerang subscription, or because right now the only place I can get my Star Wars or Disney 4K is from a disc. It's quite nice to have that if you haven't got a independent Blu-ray player.
No, definitely. I think it'd be a shame. Like I say, I still very much have a decent collection of Blu-rays and a small collection of 4K Blu-rays and things like that. And like you say, the whole concept of Boomerang is just instantly out the window, because that's a money-saving exercise for me, in terms of, like you say, for the games that you just want to have a dabble with and not bother keeping, even if it's just a case of saving you £10, £15 here or there, it's money you've saved. Whereas if you don't have that facility, yes, we've got Game Pass and things like that, but if obviously the game is not on there that you want, then you're going to have to be forced to download it when it's on cheap or something, which obviously will incur more of a cost than paying your £14, £15 a month out to Boomerang just to get an infinite amount of games that you can have over the course of the month, isn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as I was saying, I teased it, but Microsoft have also been in the business of teasing, and that is the fact that they are plans to release Xbox Live. We're talking about Xbox Live at the moment on Nintendo Switch. I don't know why I paused between that. Nintendo Switch. What is he talking about? GBA? What? The Nintendo Switch, iOS and Android. Now, this comes via the way of Windows Central. So this week, the GDC conference happens in March, I think 23rd to the 25th of March. And so they started to publicize what their conference is, or what the different keynotes were going to be, or the different sessions throughout GDC. And one of those was from Microsoft, and it was basically around their new software development kit, which will enable game developers to collect players between iOS, Android, Switch, and also PC and Xbox. So this could mean that Xbox Live would be available on all of those platforms. Now, for some Android and iOS games, this is already happening. So you've got Solitaire, you've got Wordament, some other games as well, that you're getting achievements that are going towards your achievements. You're logging in with your Xbox Live password. And what they're talking about here is that if you're playing Minecraft on the Switch, or if you're playing Warframe, that you're unlocking achievements on the Xbox as well. So you're logging in. But of course, this news of this cross-platform set everybody, me included, and all of us on our kind of WhatsApp group, quite excited by the fact, though. What about if xCloud was actually coming to Switch? So what about if you had an Xbox logo similar to the the titles that you get for being on the Nintendo Online, similar to that NES shop you had next to that was xCloud, was Microsoft logo, was an Xbox logo, and that you'd be able to then take your Switch, and instead of playing it on your phone or your tablet, you would actually be playing on the Switch. So, instantly, that just blew my mind. I was like, if that's where Microsoft's going, that's where I want to be a part of, because this is just such a fantastic idea to have. I mean, right now, Xbox is second in a 3-horse race, but Nintendo are close behind the sales of the Xbox One. I mean, we don't know because Microsoft haven't really kind of given us any numbers, but there's an estimation about 45 million Xboxes out there, whether that's One, whether that's the Xbox One, Xbox X or S, that's what's out there. And Nintendo are on about 30, I think. So they're so why wouldn't Microsoft start looking at not Sony, because they've sold to so many, they've sold 9 to Sony, are never going to say, yeah, for sure, put an Xbox logo. But Microsoft and Nintendo have started to play nice. They've done lots of videos together about playing better together. And this is just the next evolution that I'm on the train, I'm going to London, I just click on the Xbox logo, and now I'm playing Sea of Thieves. Now I'm playing Kingdom Hearts because I'm up in the cloud and I'm playing that. Or, more importantly, I'm playing Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise because I can now, and I'm playing that again, and that would just be bloody perfect. And so I just think that blew my mind. I think I was just kind of message you guys, and I was just like, what about if this happened? And I got carried away with my excitement because I know that this is just talking about Xbox Live, so we're talking about achievements, friends lists, that sort of stuff. But the next step from that, and with Project Cloud, xCloud, whatever it's called, coming up behind it, that you hope that this could be the next step.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like you say, it's kind of baby steps, isn't it, for now, in terms of just being able to access. It's like having it on the Xbox app, in effect, isn't it? Just on different sort of services, and being able to just flick on the Xbox app on your Switch and just check, what people are doing and this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. But in a way, this, if the full functionality were to go to the Switch in terms of you can play your Xbox games on the Switch, this would be the perfect acid test for the xCloud, in terms of if Microsoft were to release their own gaming tablet, which is within all sort of realms of possibility, in terms of, because I mean, even if you look at just the sort of the basic function on like the Surface tablet that I'm using now, I can stream Xbox games from my Xbox to that as long as I'm in the house. That's the basic sort of principle of what you can do. But if you can do that on demand, as long as you've got a sort of a strong internet connection, why couldn't they bring their own tablet out? Why couldn't they bring their own Switch out? I mean, even if it's just a Surface tablet like I've got here, but you just connected a normal Bluetooth Xbox controller to it, and it did it all in the background via the internet. Why couldn't you? Because as long as you've just got the controller and the tablet on a train, like you say, for example, it's not cumbersome, it's not weighing you down, it's not kind of, in terms of, it's not standout-ish in terms of it's not going to take a lot of space up in terms of sat on the train doing it. So there's no reason why they couldn't. And like you say, it's kind of getting a bit sort of a few steps ahead of ourselves in terms of what's going to be. But like you say, if they can just do that with Nintendo, say, look, we'll let your people, your gamers play our games, and maybe even vice versa, maybe that'll happen. I mean, it's already happened in some variety with Minecraft, isn't it? Because obviously, Microsoft owned Minecraft, so obviously I think that's going to obviously integrate eventually and things like that. But even still, it's huge. It's huge just seeing these, the two, out of the three industry giants playing, like you said, playing nicely, allowing these things to happen. It's a sign of the future, because I think that is the way the future works. Because as we mentioned earlier, if you can play against people across any platform, regardless of what you're playing on, that would be incredible. Like I said about me and Ollie from work, he plays the PS4, I play the Xbox. If I can access PS4 on there, or he can access Xbox on there, whatever, or they integrate well, so they link in terms of cross-platform, then why not? Why wouldn't they do this? Because it's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
Because you might say, well, it won't get them to buy their content. Well, no, it might not, but it might, in terms of it could happen. And likewise, if you get Nintendo players playing Xbox on the Switch, they go, oh, well, I could buy an Xbox, they might do that, and likewise, if they did it the other way around, if you could suddenly access Super Mario on the Xbox, then they might say, oh, well, I'll buy a Switch. Then, it's, the possibilities are endless. There's a lot of things that could happen from it.
Absolutely, but there could be the possibility where you got little Johnny with his Switch. He hasn't got an Xbox, but he has Game Pass.
Yeah.
He now has Game Pass. He bought Game Pass for a £1 or $1 to try, and he played Sea of Thieves and he played Forza, but he doesn't need an Xbox because he's just playing them in the cloud on his Switch. That just blows my mind. And that, if Phil Spencer is an incredibly smart man, and he, that's another 30 million just on the Switch, but then you talk about iOS and you talk about Android, that's another 200 million users of Xbox Live. Suddenly you've got people who don't need to buy the hardware because, okay, they've got a PS4, they've got a PC, but now they can suddenly play Sea of Thieves on their Android tablet or their Android phone or their Switch or their fridge or their microwave. They can play on anything. And for me, that's just like the possibilities of that is because, like I say, I've got a couple of friends at work, and they're both on PS4. I play predominantly on Xbox, but I'm going to try Anthem out on PS4. But I'll probably be playing that on Xbox. But we'll talk about our next item, which is Apex Legends. I'm going to download that on PS4 as well, and I might be able to jump in. But imagine if we were just suddenly going, well, guys, you don't need to have an Xbox for us all to play Forza. You just fire up your Android tablet and you can play on there. The possibilities of that are just fantastic. And I just really like it. The next couple of years are going to be great for all the other stuff that we were just talking about, PS4 and PS5 and the next Xbox and and this cloud as well. Like, as I say, I am getting in front of it because they have only just said where we're going to be talking about our SDK to enable game developers to collect players between iOS, Android and Switch in addition to Xbox and any game in the Microsoft Store on Windows PC. Just the possibilities of that kind of are endless, and I just, GDC has just got, GDC is always really interesting anyway, but it's just got a whole lot more interesting. But yeah, I can't wait. E3 is going to be so exciting. E3 is just like...
Yeah, and like you say, with them giving you access to like an iOS and Android as well, that kind of, how are they going to combat that, in terms of the sort of the eternal problem of owning a mobile phone is how do you play video games on it? How do you overcome that? So how they overcome that again will be an interesting challenge. In terms of, can you dock your phone? Is there something that you'd be able to? I mean, I think there was like a cradle for the PS4, wasn't there? It kind of holds your phone above the controller.
Yes.
For streaming, that sort of thing. So they might do that, but yeah, like you say, the possibilities in terms of what they can do with technology and how they make it work, are endless, and it's really exciting to see what they do and how they do it.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite on iOS, I'm not sure about Android, but Fortnite on iOS enabled Bluetooth controllers the other day. So they had a patch for Fortnite, and it enabled you to just pair your PlayStation or your Xbox controller to your phone, to your iPhone, to your Android phone, and play Fortnite. So yeah, absolutely. That I was imagining that I'd be sitting on a train with a controller in my bag, because already in my bag I've got my iPad, I've got my my headphones, I've got my Switch, I've got my laptop for work. I really don't want another device. So if the Switch enables me to play xCloud and Viva Pinata on the go, then I'm all for it.
It'll be the same old argument again. Can Viva Pinata be the game of the year on the Switch? No, it can't. No, you'll have both the Thomas Brothers coming after you.
It's technically a new game because it's never come out on the Switch before. So Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise can be Game of the Year 2020.
Don't upset the Thomas Brothers again.
Yes. Next piece of news, Steve, is with you.
Yes, it is indeed. And just as you kind of briefly touched upon, a new game by Respawn Entertainment came out called Apex Legends, which is another sort of Battle Royale style game set in the Titanfall universe, but not actually a full-blown Titanfall sequel. So I think a teaser came out for this. I think either last week, I think a few people got their hands on it last week, I think, as a kind of a preview event, and then kind of the mumblings came out from that in terms of what it was, but then now it's kind of, it's here, it's a thing, and it is out, and it's, it's playable now to download. So this is kind of what Respawn have been sort of squirreled away doing. People have been sort of convinced they've been working on a Titanfall sequel, but this is what they've clearly been doing. And like I say, it is a game set in the universe, but not on an outright sequel. So it is another Battle Royale game, which will either make you happy or sad, in terms of depending on which sort of side of the fence you fall on. But yeah, it's essentially sort of, it's a merge kind of the two sort of this genre. I mean, there's a 3-player squad that you play as against 19 other 3-player squads, which obviously in turn makes 57 players altogether. So in theory, it makes it a little bit easier and makes your chances of success a little bit higher than just you versus another 99 other people. So it is a kind of a slight twist on the formula. But yeah, I mean, it seems quite interesting in terms of if you look at it, in terms of, like, say, I think one thing that Titanfall's been praised for is its universe, isn't it? In terms of the whole premise of Titanfall, albeit the games might not necessarily have been the best executed, in terms of especially the first one, but the universe has been praised in terms of it could be something quite successful, which obviously this is why they're tapping into it here. So I mean, there's a kind of the article that's on Eurogamer here is kind of why have we not heard anything about it, and they've been quite sort of transparent in terms of the reasoning behind that, and said that they know that the game's kind of going to be received quite skeptically, but they want to kind of be quite open with people in terms of what it is. And again, they've even said themselves that they think there's too many people think there are too many out there in terms of these Battle Royale games, but they think that this kind of world is worth expanding on in terms of they think Titanfall world is worth doing and doing well. So obviously they're quite kind of keen to kind of put those doubters to bed in effect, because like I said, the haters will just obviously say, "Oh, well, it's another Titanfall. Titanfall didn't do very well." But I think a lot of people have kind of praised Titanfall as well for its actual gameplay being quite satisfying. I mean, I played the first one, I didn't play the second one, admittedly, but I think obviously playing as a Titan is quite obviously been quite a satisfying thing. I mean, I don't think there are any from what I can see in this. I'm not entirely sure.
No, there's no Titans at all.
I've not seen it.
Not yet. Well, maybe later.
Again, this is it. Again, this might be something that's coming down the line. But in terms of, if they get that kind of just the free running sort of combat from what was in Titanfall, the kind of the sort of the free running, the wall climbing, sliding, that sort of thing, I think it could be quite successful. And it is a kind of a free to play thing. In terms of it, give it a go, see what happens, sort of thing. So it is, open to kind of you just to have a whirl with, give it a few games. If it's not for you, then put it down. But yeah, it's. I mean, you're quite a fan of these sort of things where a game just kind of just lands out of nowhere, aren't you? In terms of, this is what we've been working on, and it's available now. That's great. Catching people by surprise, because in a way, I think that gets people talking about a game just as much as, if not more, as when it's obviously got a big build-up, because you've got no expectation, you've got no hype. It's not been built up for months. It kind of drops now, and everyone's kind of talking about it. So, something that I'll give a go. Certainly, like I say, with it being sort of a free-to-play, as these sort of things are at the moment, a la Fortnite. It'll be good to give it a go, and it seems that the Battle Royale mode is here to stay for quite a while.
Absolutely, and this game looks and feels fantastic. I played a couple of games last night because, as you say, it's my favourite kind of reveal when Vince Zampella went on Twitter over the weekend saying, right, we've got a reveal event for our new Battle Royale game on Monday. I think it was Monday about 8 p.m. or something like that, GMT. And the Twitch screen showed all of the gameplay, showed a little bit of a reveal of the universe, and as you say, it just kind of said available now on PS4 and Xbox, I think PC as well. And I jumped in, I was watching, I think Nicola and I were watching The Punisher, and while I was watching that, I was downloading Apex Legends in the background, and I ran through the tutorial last night. I had a couple of games, came third, my squad came third in one, and not as good, didn't fare as good in the second one. But it felt good, it felt like a Titanfall game. It's quite funny you were saying about wall running, because the moment I was free to go, I just headed towards a wall to see if I could run up it, and you can't. Not yet. I mean, it may be an ability that you unlock, but it looks fantastic, and it feels like a Titanfall game as well, because Titanfall 2 was a fantastic campaign, and the guns, which look very similar, were really satisfying to use. So this really does it, and it's great. I definitely reckon that we should all jump in and kind of try and get a bit of a game going, because it's good fun.
Yeah, and then like you say there, I think obviously what we've touched on there, kind of the mechanics, would they bring the Titans in, that sort of thing, it leaves it a bit open to kind of probably a bit more expansion than the likes of Fortnite, because obviously that kind of is just, obviously it's not made up as it goes along, but it's kind of got no history or heritage, has it, in terms of that is, I mean, I think Fortnite's very much cosmetic nowadays anyway, kind of with emotes and characters and, skins and that sort of thing. But this, like you say, they could quite easily bring Titans, or a different variety of Titans, smaller things, other kinds of robots or mechs potentially, more free running, more weapons, perks, if they bring sort of perks into it, and, a bit like sort of old school Call of Duty, that sort of thing. So, I certainly don't think another variation on this genre will hurt, for certain, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, but certainly if we were to jump on, given it's free, I'd happily have a few games and just to give it a go, see what it's like, and see how it unfolds and how it progresses over time.
And I quite like it. It was quite interesting last night. I jumped into my first game, and I would say there's probably about 8 characters at the moment to unlock, and when you jump in, I don't know how it ordered them, but I was third pick. And what it does is basically the first person gets an allotted time to pick their character, and that means that you can't have everybody picking the same character. So there's only one character. So when you're playing Overwatch and everyone's kind of, Agent 47 or Toblerone or whatever his name is, you can't have that. So it's not a group of that. Everybody has to pick an individual character. So which is great, because when you're playing Star Wars Battlefront, everyone's just that same character, so there's just 20 of them running around, where this one you can't, it's unique, so everyone has to be kind of a unique character, and I quite like that twist, and the fact that you are in a group of 3 doesn't, I prefer playing PUBG with Manny and the guys, because that's great, because I'm then in a group and I'm not feeling so lonely, so this this was kind of giving that, and it was good fun. It has that ever decreasing circle, you have to race to the middle and then go for it, but it's, like I say, it's worth a punt, just like the Rams and the New England. No, it's worth a punt. It's worth a punt because it's free to play, so you're not going to, straight away. Obviously, there is cosmetics. They're all behind kind of paywalls, and there you can, it's not shoved down your throat. But when you kind of click on it and go, I want to unlock this skin, it's like pay $4.99, and so it is there. They're not. It's free to play. They're not giving it away. So but I played a couple of games. I'm going to play some more, and it's fantastic. It's good. I quite like it. And like I say, it is my favourite reveal that you get to play straight away. Every game, whenever they're revealed, they should be straight away to play.
It could be any game, but you'd still be hooked, wouldn't you? You'd still have to play it just because it's available now.
I love it. I spent my entire life just waiting for stuff. I was talking to someone today at work, and I was like, I spent my entire life waiting for stuff. I'm waiting right now for Showcase Cinemas to release tickets for Captain Marvel. I'm waiting for the Avengers movie, the Star Wars movie. I just spent my entire life waiting for the next thing, and I just quite like it when they're like, here's something cool, and you can get it now. It's just lovely.
Can you imagine if they did that with a movie or something, just like the trailer, and it's like, oh yeah, it's out now. It's in the cinemas now. Can you imagine that?
You imagine Star Wars Episode 9, right? Because they made such a misstep on 8. Star Wars Episode 9, here's the trailer. Oh, by the way, it's available on iTunes right now. how amazing would that be? I'm like, just give that to me. That sort of stuff.
Your tiny mind would explode.
It would just, like right now, like I really want to watch it, like at the weekend, like Nicola and I really wanted to watch a movie, and we were flicking through, and I want to watch the next Fantastic Beasts. I want to watch Into the Spideyverse again. There was about 5 movies that are just not available yet that I wanted to watch. I could not find one thing that I wanted to watch that was available right now. I can't even tell you what it was that we ended up watching. He says, trying to look at his letterbox. We ended up watching something, and I can't even remember what it was, but there was about 10
memorable
movies.
Then.
Yeah, exactly. I think even Nicola said to me, like, she goes, "Oh, we've watched some real doozies recently," and I was just like, it was Tomb Raider. Linked to the pod, so it was about Game Raider. It was Tomb Raider on Netflix, so the new Tomb Raider, and I just gave it 2.5 stars because it was just bad. So yeah, but I'm waiting for stuff forever, and it just feels like I'm just in that perpetual loop of just waiting for stuff. He said, speaking of perpetual loop, oh my God, I have just, oh God, Steve, if you was here, I would high five you so hard.
You just out-segued yourself, I think, there.
I have just segued all of the segues. Speaking of perpetual loop, over the weekend, on the 2nd of February, my dad's birthday, 2nd of February, Groundhog Day, Sony PlayStation and PlayStation VR announced that they are making a Groundhog Day sequel. This isn't a movie. This doesn't star Bill Murray. It's a sequel that is set in the Groundhog Day universe, and it's called Groundhog Day Like Father, Like Son. And it takes place in Puxatawney, in Nobbs Creek, I think it's called. I think it's Nobbs Dip or Nobbers Creek or something like that. It's definitely something like that. I had a chuckle with one of my mates, Dean, at the weekend about it. And so it's basically in Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son, you play as the charming but arrogant Phil Connors. This is from the PlayStation blog, who grew up in the shadow of his father. A man who spent a lifetime repeating the single day until he made it perfect. So in this game, you are still trapped in Puxatawney Phil. Man, I just feel so good talking about Puxatawney Phil on a podcast. Puxatawney Phil is back, and you are now trapped in Puxatawney, the small town he thought he'd escape, where you can't even get a decent cappuccino. Again, this is from the PlayStation blog. And he's going to have to repeat the day over and over again until he learns the true value of friends and family. Sounds a bit like a Kingdom Hearts game. But this is coming out. This is no joke. I thought maybe they were just, because the announcement came out on the 2nd of February, Groundhog Day. I thought they were just taking the mick, but this is coming out, and it's from Tequila Works. So this is a good pedigree, and the game looks fantastic. It kind of looks like a bit like Firewatch. When you look at the character models and the hand models, because obviously it's first person because you're playing in VR, it looks a little bit like Firewatch. It reminded me of Firewatch when I saw it. I thought it might have been Campo Santo when I first saw it. But as you've probably guessed, I'm incredibly excited about this. I mean, even on Groundhog Day on the 2nd, I did tweet because they had Sky Cinema Comedy had Groundhog Day all day. It was just back-to-back Groundhog Day, and I could have just sat there watching it. I love Groundhog Day so much, and it was just such a great film. This game, unfortunately, did not come out on with the announcement, which it really should have done, because it had come out on Groundhog Day, and I think it's scheduled to come out later on this year, around summertime, but I cannot wait. So it's coming out later this year, and then there was a teaser. I'll stick the link to the teaser in the show notes, because it's definitely worth a watch, and good fun.
Yeah, so is this going to be non-VR as well, or is it just purely VR?
No, just purely VR.
Oh, wow.
Well, they say it's a teaser trailer, PSVR. It doesn't say that you
doesn't say anything else, does it? No.
No. Going through.
So I suppose it's good to see him still supporting just purely VR games, isn't it? In terms of it's still giving it a bit of life. It clearly gets you excited just to say Puxatawney? Or is it
Puxatawney, Phil, yeah.
Is it Punxsutawney? I don't know. It's got an N in it there. Is the N silent?
It's Puxatawney, Phil.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, you just like saying that word, don't you?
I just love it. I love that movie. And it has like, on Saturday, I was just spent the entire day just singing the Puxatawny Polka, which is one of the songs from it, like, much to my wife's disgust. But it is just, it's great. It's a great film, and it's going to be, I'm definitely going to play this. It's probably going to be more of an experience. And even in the game, they have Ned Ryerson as well, who is the guy that kind of Bill Murray punches eventually. But they even have him in it. So it's definitely a callback to that game. And it sounds bonkers, sounds fun. But it's from Tequila Works, and I'm quite excited.
Yeah, it's kind of got that sort of like that cartoony sort of charm to it, hasn't it? You know, I mean, it's not going to kind of be overly sort of graphical heavy in VR, is it? But it's still kind of that sort of nice sort of merge between realism and cartoon, isn't it? So I think that'll quite help, won't it, in terms of being kind of giving that sort of feel of being stuck in a video game world as well. I think that kind of will add to its kind of sort of believability, sort of the story as well.
Absolutely, and the writing pedigree on this game, it's got some chops as well. There's one guy from Rick and Morty, and there's another guy from Telltale. So there's a couple. So it's got some good stuff. So I can't wait. We haven't got release date yet, but it's looking fantastic. I'll happily play the same day. As long as you smash the clock at the start of every day, that would be just fantastic. Or find a new way to destroy the alarm clock every day.
Yeah, like you say, always stuck waiting for something though, aren't you? It's just
I am.
The irony.
I just, this is just the segue of segues. I am so happy right now. Anyone listening, if you if you could see my face, I am just happy. Right. We won't get any better than that, Steve. So it's time to say goodbye. Absolutely. That's about it for this episode. So huge thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersalostpark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Park Pod. You can find us on YouTube and the Gamers Lost Park PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So I am Steve Carter 91 on Xbox Live, Cartera on the PlayStation Network, and at Steve_Carter 91 on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. And for me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send us to our email address. That is feedback@gamerslostmark.com. That's about it. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye before Antony dances anymore about Puxatawny Phil.
That should be my outro. Yeah. Bye! That was just the best segue ever.
You'll never have a segue like it again.
No.
Quit while we're ahead.